Hello, everyone. I'm George from Trustero. With me, I have Nick, who is our product manager. And today we're going to talk about how to utilize the platform for HIPAA compliance. So at Trustero, we use advanced AI to help with the GRC and security. There are multiple use cases. Here we just mentioned a few of them. We can use the AI assistant to conduct audits, to find gaps with the existing compliance. We can vet third parties, answer questionnaires, and in general, GRC intelligence to help you optimize your GRC solution. We enable agile GRC by ingesting and analyzing data in real time. So we usually sit on top of your GRC solution. Of course, we can also offer some GRC capabilities, but we usually sit on top of the GRC solution. We analyze that data and help you optimize and automate a lot of the GRC processes. We do that by connecting to GRC platforms, ingesting the data like policies, controls, and evidence. We have receptors, so we can ingest evidence directly from the source systems. We can also connect to document management systems like Google Docs or SharePoint. And we can accept uploads from different sources, being spreadsheets, PDF, screenshots, any kind of documentation. So all of that goes through our AI assistant. And that helps us produce control gaps, compliance roadmaps. We can answer questionnaires up to like 80, 70, 80% of the accuracy, answering questionnaires from auditors or from customers. We can also verify your risk register. We can help with vendor management, verify, for example, SOC 2 reports, and so on. And today we're going to talk about how we can use the platform to maintain our HIPAA compliance. As we all know, there are multiple ways how we can achieve HIPAA attestation. HITRUST is probably the most popular one, using the HITRUST control framework. Another way is through using SOC 2 Plus, which is adding the HIPAA related controls to SOC 2. Either way, you probably perform some kind of a gap analysis. You can use Trustero platform for that. You implemented the controls, and now the next step is to get ready for the actual audit or to provide assurance that those controls are actually working. And Nick here is going to show us how we do control checks, essentially readiness for different controls. Nick?
Yeah, thanks, George. So, as George mentioned, uh, organizations can do self assessments or work with third-party auditor. This example environment that you're looking at has a variety of Trustero content in it, including some HIPAA specific controls. And this happens to be one of them, a data backup and disaster recovery control. And this is showing an environment that would be near the end. So the organization has done a lot of work to make sure the environment is designed correctly, all the controls are implemented, and ultimately operating effectively. And what we're going to show you here is an example of using our AI control checks feature to examine and test a specific control, and then ultimately all of the controls in the environment to make sure that they're actually operating effectively. So for this control in particular, we'll take a look at a couple of things. So first up, what kind of control is this? It's for making sure that backup copies of information software and systems are maintained and regularly tested to enable recovery from data loss or system disruptions and to ensure alignment with defined recovery time objectives. So the organization is backing up its stuff and proving that it can recover from those backups. And there's a lot going on in this control. So we're just going to focus in on one particular part, and it's this annual backup test documentation piece. So, in order to show that the control is operating effectively, the organization will need to do an annual backup test and then record the results of that test. And so, what this is saying here is this control is looking for that piece of evidence, and then in order to show that the control is operating effectively, we're going to be testing certain aspects of that evidence to make sure that all the right things were covered. So you'll see that here in this annual backup test validation section. It's going to say validate the presence of standalone documentation for the most recent annual backup and restore test. confirm the document includes the date of the test, recovery objectives tested, test results, any identified gaps or lessons learned, and updates made to procedures based on the test outcomes. So that's what we're going to be looking for. So let's take a look at what is actually here on on this control. And I'll start by looking through the evidence. So we've got evidence that covers all aspects of the control. But the particular piece we're interested in this case is this annual data backup and restore test document. As you can see, this is just a normal PDF that looks similar to what an organization would produce. Obviously here it's a demo. So we've got a title. We say when it was done. We say who the participants were, what those RTOs were, the scope and scale of the test, and then ultimately what were all the things that we looked at and needed to prove out to show that that we did our backup and restore test correctly. Looks pretty good from my human judgment. Let's see then what the AI thinks. And so that is where our control check feature comes in as part of examining and testing a control. So we offer a number of control checks, but we're gonna skip ahead to this last one. This is the operating effectiveness check. And so as you can see, this is looking for, does the attached evidence pass the test procedures? So those test procedures that were up above. And all the control checks, what they're going to do is they'll give you a high level pass fail. So green check in this case means you're good, it passed. And then it's going to explain how it came to its conclusion. It'll start with a high level summary, and then it'll break it down based on the individual tests that need to be performed. And so you can see here at a high level, the objective of maintaining and regularly testing backup copies, blah, 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 is satisfied based on the collective evidence provided across all control tests. And now it's going to break it down. And so for this annual backup test validation, we can see standalone documentation for the most recent annual backup and restore test is present, detailing the date, recovery objectives, test results, and updates made based on the outcomes, confirming the effectiveness and continual improvement of backup procedures. So we're in good shape here. We passed, and so we're feeling good about this control. And as you can see, these other checks pass as well. And then we can also take a step back and have a macro view that shows us across the environment, how did we do? And so we can see here, yep, we passed all of these checks. This is the result of doing a on-demand examination and test. So we can see we passed for all of them. And then we also actually have a high level dashboard as well that will surface any issues, but everything's good. And so we're passing. So we're feeling pretty confident about the state of our HIPAA environment.
And Nick, if I may interject here, you are showing how the check is done with the manually uploaded evidence, like a regular PDF document. It could be anything. And the important thing is that the AI agent is looking for particular things in that document. So it's not that, yeah, I have a document that describes that I had a test, but also what is the content of that document, whether we actually performed the test and whether the test was successful. In fact, if we upload a document that has a non-successful test, like for example, we were longer than the RPO, then the check is going to catch this one. And you can do that for individual controls, either with, as we said, manual evidence that you upload, or through our receptors, you can receive evidence from the systems directly. And what you're seeing here is the macro view of, okay, all my HIPAA controls, are they good to go? And right now I'm ready to go to my legal team and say, hey, I feel confident. We have all the necessary controls. We are compliant with the HIPAA regulation. We are ready to issue our attestation. And as we all know, legal is not going to take my word for granted. They're going to ask me a few questions like, do we have this? Do we have that? Are we sure we're doing this and that before I sign the attestation and put it on our trust site? So I guess we can help with that one, because sometimes those questions require some research and take a few days for you to come up with the specific answers. Whereas here we can use the AI to significantly shorten this period, even open the question functionality to the legal so that they can start asking questions and get the answer. So can you show us that?
Yeah, exactly. So exactly right, George. So this is just a little mini questionnaire, but pretty reflective of the kinds of things that a legal department might have as follow-up questions. So do we have a breach risk assessment, procedural document in place to determine if potential data exposure occurred? What safeguards do we have in place to prevent unauthorized access to protected PHI, et cetera? And this capability, this is our Q&A capability. Uh, it is designed to answer these kinds of open-ended questions, whether they come from an internal team or external team. And in order to use it, someone just can ask either one-off questions, or in this case, we submitted them in bulk. And then the system will, using the data that's in the platform already, so the control information, policy information, evidence that's attached, just like that backup and restore test document that we looked at a little bit ago, it will go off and answer the questions and answer them in a matter of seconds. So you can see here, this particular question was answered in 23 seconds, 35 seconds, et cetera. And sometimes they come back actually quite a bit faster than that. But in any case, 23 seconds is a heck of a lot faster than I would be able to answer this question. And it gives you those responses right away, uh, raising, the level of assurance, or in some cases, perhaps the legal team's question uncovered something that wasn't quite done to the level that the organization needs it to be. And so you'll be able to find those kind of risks and surface them faster.
So we can take it even to a step further, and we can take the actual regulation and turn it into a series of questions and ask those questions directly. That will give our legal team even more assurance that we're complying with the regulation.
It indeed. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just opening the kimono a little bit, show how we can use the platform for some of the action items that are necessary for compliance with the HIPAA regulation. Of course, follow us for more. We're going to show some other things that we can do with the platform in the HIPAA and even outside of HIPAA. Thank you. If you want to learn more and have questions for me or Nick, come to trustero.com. Thank you.